Despite the Obama bounce, there are a number of foreign policy challenges that still trouble the transatlantic relationship, dealing with Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan. Here we see in Transatlantic Trends 2009 continued differences of opinion despite Europeans' strong support for President Obama. And these differences, it seems to me, bear watching because they are, in fact, tough issues that will be hard for the Obama administration and European leaders to overcome in going forward in strengthening the transatlantic relationship. There is overwhelming confidence in President Obama's international economic management. Both Europeans and Americans have faith in him to do what is right to deal with the economic crisis. There is strong support on both sides of the Atlantic to pursue fundamental economic reform. There is no real disagreement on that between Americans and Europeans. And there is strong support for an essential regulatory role for government in the marketplace, although that support is certainly stronger in Europe than it is in the United States, probably reflecting a historic hesitancy about the role of government in the economy that has long existed in the United States and may be showing itself in this data as well. But still, it's important to note that 2/3 of Americans do see an essential regulatory role for the government in the economy. However, only about half of Europeans desire more U.S. world economic leadership, whereas, not surprisingly, 85% of Americans see that as good for the world and for the United States. There is not a great deal of support, however, for closer U.S.-EU economic ties. Only half of Romanians and Spanish support that, and in all of the other countries we surveyed, less than half of the public is supportive of deepening and broadening the transatlantic economic relationship. This may reflect the fact that people think it's already strong enough, but it may also reflect a certain hesitancy about getting too close to the United States after what has happened in the economic crisis. This data, however, shows that there are some challenges ahead in terms of how we address the problems created by the economic crisis. People on both sides of the Atlantic overwhelmingly believe in a free market system, but the intensity of that support is felt most strongly in the United States, where 54% of the public agree strongly that people are better off in a free market economy. On the European side of the Atlantic, barely a third to a quarter, in some cases only a fifth of the public, feel that a free market economy is best and feel that in a strong fashion. This in part reflects historic differences about the approach to the free market. Europeans have always been somewhat skeptical of market economics, Americans less so, but this also reflects, we think, some disillusionment after the current crisis. In terms of what to do about the immediate crisis, over half of Americans already think that their government has spent too much on the economic recovery. Most Europeans still think that their government has a way to go in terms of spending. If we have a double-dip recession, if in fact our leaders have to go back to the public to ask for more money to stimulate the economy, it is the Americans who are likely to have more trouble selling that policy to their publics. Europeans may find that their publics who do not believe that their governments have already spent too much may be more amenable to that if necessary.